So this is a real quick overview of getting a 2D game up and running, or a 2D player character up and running, using Unity and the Playmaker 2D package that you can find on the developer website. The assets I'm going to use, I picked up at Glitch the Game. You can check it out, glitchthegame.com. Go into downloads, and I just dug through some of the sprite sheets to get this project up and running. So I have a default 2D project set up, and I have a folder called 2D Assets, which just has the character sprite sheets in here. I just got a idle, jump, and walk state, and then I have the sprite for the character. So I'm going to throw this into the equation. So looking down the Z axis here, hit the play button, just have this character standing in the middle of the screen. Just going to do a little bit of a setup here. First thing I'm going to do is I want to get a cube inside the environment. This will act as the ground. So I'll just kind of move that down just a bit, and I'm going to extend its scale on X, make sure I got enough. Just going to bump it out probably to go out to 30. Now, one of the key things about working in the 2D space, there's a couple things. The Z is completely ignored when it comes to sprites. So, and it's going to be also the case working with the colliders. So the 2D colliders do not talk to the 3D colliders. In fact, if I take my player character, I'm just going to rename my player sprite player. If I take this character and I go to Components, Physics 2D, and I add a rigid body, and I go back in and add a box collider, at this point gravity is going to take over and the object's going to fall. I'm just going to take this collider down just a little bit, move it around a little bit as well. Just kind of trying to line it up with, a little bit more with the sprite itself. So that'll be good for the demo. So anyway, when I hit the play button, you'll see this character is going to fall right through the floor. And that's because this cube object has a default 3D collider attached to it, and we don't want that. So I'm going to remove the component for the 3D collider, and I'm going to go to Components, 2D Physics, and I'm going to throw a box collider on the cube. So now when I hit the play button, my character falls and lands in the box. Okay. Also you'll notice that the sprites are ignoring the lighting setup here. So the 3D cube is not getting any of the light. We could set some materials up that light it as if it were sprites, but I'm just gonna, for the sake of the demo, I'm gonna throw a directional light in the environment, and that should help with some of the ambient light. There we go. So I want to start to take control of the player character, and there's a couple different ways that this can be handled. I'm gonna set up just kind of a simple method that listens for a specific key in A or D. You could do this by getting user input and using the horizontal axis or get access vector. So I'm looking for some input, and I'm going to do I'm listening for a get key down, and I'm going to listen for the A key specifically. I'll just do the A key here. I'm going to add another get key down. I'm going to listen for the D key as well. So I'm going to manually test for left and right keys, A and D. Okay. We could do this with buttons as well. That way we can remap them. But for now, I think this is it'll give me a little bit more control when talking to the animator when we start chopping up these sprite sheets. And there's a couple different ways to handle this. I'll link out to some more content here in a short bit. But I'm just going to set up a real quick state machine. So this is the player idle state. So the player is just kind of sitting around waiting for something to happen. And I'm going to add a state for move right. And I'll add another state for move left. And I'm going to add a couple of events. And we'll just call this go left. And an event that says go right. And I'm going to add both of those as a transition. So I'll move left, move right. And so when we're pressing down the A key, we want to go left. Pressing down the D key, we want to go right. Okay. So we're idling at the start. We're moving left and right. and we can add a jump in here as well. When we're moving left, what we want to do is we could do this a couple different ways. I'm going to do a set velocity. So we're looking for the 2D physics action, and I'm looking for set velocity 2D. And rather than, we should build this into variables, but I'm just going to do, so if I'm moving to the left, that's going to be a negative. I'll do a -5. Hit return. Let me just test that speed. I'm not sure how fast that's going to be. So we drop to the ground. When I press the left button, we start to move. Now, I'm going to move back into the move left, and I'm going to do that every frame. You'll see that it moved just for a second, that -5 velocity. So when I hit the left key, I want my character to completely move off screen, because currently when it sends over to the move left action, there's no reset. It doesn't go back to idle here. So, but the speed looked okay. I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a set velocity. And this time we'll send this into the positive X. So we're going 5 in this case, -5 and move left. So normally I would do some kind of a velocity float variable, and then do like a multiplier in here, and then have the speed being multiplied by the velocity or something like that. But in this case, I think this will work for the demo. So I'm going to do another input test here on left and right, and I'm going to listen for get key up. So we held down the left key to get to the move left, and so I'm going to listen for the left key, or the A key in this case, and I'm going to create an event and call this reset. And so when we're in move left, we'll use the reset, and we'll fire that off. So if we lift up on the A key, it's going to fire off the reset. I'm going to copy this action, and I'll borrow it for the right state, and I will paste that action here. And this time, instead of listening to the A key, we'll listen to the D key, and we'll use that same reset, and we'll send that back here. So again, the idea here is that when I'm moving right, when I'm in idle, if I press down the D key, it's going to move to the right state. When I lift up on the D key, it's going to fire back to the idle state. So we'll test this really quickly. Okay, and the only glitch is I forgot to check every frame on the move right. So let me do that. So for the set velocity 2D, I forgot to choose every frame again, so it only sets the velocity for a split second. So now we got this real simple control system to work. Okay, now when I'm going to listen for the get key, the get D key down on the move left state, so that we can transition directly back to the right state. So just kind of like squash a little bug that's going to pop up. I'm going to pass the left and right keys directly to the left and right state here, in the event that you have one key held down and you press the alternative key. So we'll do another get key down, and we'll do, let's see, in this case I'm on the right, so I'm going to listen for the left key. So I'm going to listen for A, and the send event that I'll use this time is go left, and I'll just add go left as a transition here as well. And again, this is correcting for, I'll just do it on the right side for now. I'm holding down the right key, and then if I continue to hold down D but then press A, it passes it back to the left side. So just a little kind of a bug squash. We'll do the same thing on this side. I'm going to borrow this action, this get key down, and I'll copy that and throw it over here in this state. Paste, there we go. I'm going to listen to the D key, and we'll fire off go right, and we'll wire in go right. Now again, I could have just simply listened to the horizontal axis here and mapped the left and right, or the horizontal axis, and applied this, but this will give me a little bit more control about when we're moving left and right in terms of what we can do with some of the sprites, and we could have kind of tracked the speed and the velocity and done some things to flip the sprite left and right. But I'm going to use this setup just to experiment with a few things. So I'd probably also want to build a jump in here, but for the sake of the demo, I think this will be good. So, okay. Now I want to just focus on the animation component of this. And what I'll do is I want to build an animation, and I want to build this based on a sprite sheet. So I'm going to grab the walk sprite sheet. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go over here in the inspector, and where it says sprite mode, instead of using a single, bringing this in as a single mode, so it's one big graphic, I'm going to do multiple, and that allows me to take it into the sprite editor. So here's the entire sprite sheet. And what I want to do is I want to slice up this sprite sheet, and I took the number of rows and columns, and I'm going to divide that by the total pixels in the document, and that gave me my grid size. So I'm going to choose to slice this up based on a grid, and the values that I came up with were 164 by 155, which happens to be the same size of the sprite itself. But I just wanted to confirm that by doing the math, and I'll slice this up, hit apply, and close it. So now when we go into our sprite assets here, the sprite sheet that we just chopped up, if we click on this little triangle to the right here and reveal its contents, you can see now that we have all the individual frames of that sprite sheet. So that's a pretty cool thing. I want to make an animation based on walk and based on idle. So I'm gonna grab idle. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna chop it up. I'm gonna set my sprite mode to multiple. I'm gonna go to sprite editor, and I'm gonna slice this based on a grid. It remembers the previous coordinates that I plugged in. I'm gonna hit slice, looks good, and I'm gonna hit apply. So now I have idle, and I have walk, and the same concept would be for jump too. So I'm gonna go to idle, and I wanna make an animation out of idle on the player character. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the player character. Got to make sure it's selected. I'm going to go to window, and I'm going to bring up the animation window. Now, where'd my animation window go? I don't see it. Let's try it again. Pause for technical difficulties, and we'll catch up in the next presentation.